Hello everybody, this is Tanner Smith, and today I'll be showing you how to use the custom draft guide tool from Baseball HQ. So right now I'm on the Baseball HQ main page. In order to get to the custom draft guide, you go to Stats and Tools, and then Custom Draft Guide. After you go into Custom Draft Guide, you'll see this page of text explaining a lot of the things I'll show you today. But to get into the tool, I'll click Start here. Next, now we're at the custom draft guide page. Select Mac League. So I have this Smith League as an example, so I will select that. If your league uses keepers, you select this box. If it does not, you do not select this box. Next, select Stat Pool. So you see that it gives you all these options, even back to 2002. But to have an updated projection list of projections, you go to projected 2017. Next, number of teams. You can adjust this to how many teams are in your league. I'll use 14 as an example. Next, leagues. So if you're in an American League only league, you have this box selected only. If you're in a National League only league, you have this box selected only. And if you're in a mixed league, you select both boxes. Next, budget per team. So this is the amount of dollars you will have in your auction. Most leagues use about $260, but if your league is different, you can adjust this number to whatever it is. So I'll leave it at 260 for now. Next, offensive budget. So this is very important because it determines dollar value for players. This is how much of your budget you want to spend on your offense. So for a typically balanced team, you want about 65 to 67% of your budget on offense. If you want a more hitting skewed team, you can go 74, 75, or etc. And if you want a more pitching heavy team, you can go 50, 55, 60, etc. I'll leave it at 66 for right now. Next, you can go sort by dollars or save by Mayberry method. You should always just leave it on sort by dollars. It's the more intuitive way of doing it. Next, number of bench players. So you would think that you would adjust this to the number of players you will have on your bench in your league, but I would recommend keeping this at 0 because if you have this above 0, it would create bench players that would be worth more than $1, while most of the time your bench players are only going to be $1 players. So I'd recommend keeping this at 0. Next, use fractional dollars. So if you have this box checked, let's just say you had two $16 players. With this box checked, it would give you a more precise value, such as $16.1 or $16.4. But I'd recommend keeping this box unchecked because the projections are not meant to be precise to this amount. And if you try to make them so, then you'll probably be misguided. Next, force positions. So this is mostly just used with two catcher leagues, but for an example, in a league with 14 teams and 10 positions, without forced positions, the top 140 players will be worth $1 or more, while every player after that will be worth $1 or less. With forced positions on, though, you'll have exactly 14 players from each position within that top 140 player pool. And every player after that would have a value of 0 or negative or 1. So I would recommend most of the time having this unchecked, but you can use it if you want to. Next, valuation method. So if you wanted a top players approach, meaning that you wanted the players such as Bryce Harper or Mike Trout to be have a higher value and have a stars and scrubs team, this would do that for you while pushing down the value of middle players, like players that would fill out your roster but not necessarily be your stars. And the middle players approach does the exact opposite. It inflates the value of players in the middle while deflating the value of players at the top. And then a balanced approach would, as it sounds, balance that between top players and middle players. Scarcity I'll go over in a minute once we get past minimum bid because it's involving this. Next, minimum bid. So this is the amount that the minimum bid for your auction. Most leagues use $1, but if your league is different, you can change that. Next, positions. So these boxes can change the amount of players at each position. You fill this in based on how many spots are in your league. Most leagues use about 9 pitchers, 3, 4, or 5 outfielders, 1 or 2 catchers, etc. So, and then you see the scarce box. So this is where the scarce valuation method comes into play. So if you are using the scarcity valuation method, you have to have some of these boxes checked. These boxes represent which positions you think are scarce, or the positions that you think have a shallow pool of players that you would want. So you want the values of those players at the positions inflated. So, for example, if I thought catching or shortstop or both were scarce this year, I would have those boxes checked. And then the scarcity valuation method would take that into account and inflate the dollar value of those players. So for right now, I'll just leave that balanced and then uncheck these boxes. Next, stat categories. So you can see that you can do rotisserie or points. I'll leave it at rotisserie for right now. And I'll also leave it at weight of 1 for each category. I can explain that in a different video, but for right now, I'm just trying to give you a general overview of how to use the tool. So leave it at rotisserie and leave all the weights at 1. And then next, hitting categories used. So you select which categories you think are going to be used in your league. So I'll just leave it home runs, batting average, RBIs, runs scored, stolen bases, just for a basic example. And then same thing with wins, saves, whip, ERA, strikeouts. And you could add other categories like command ratio if you wanted to, but I'll just leave it at basic 5x5 for right now. So next, once you have all that stuff done, so you should go up to here and save settings. That will save all your settings here, and it will make it so that all that stuff will be there later. Next, generate values. And here you go. Here's a list of players sorted by dollar value. So Trout, Altuve, Goldschmidt, etc. And you can see that it has all these categories here for sortable stats. I'll explain how to sort more within this in a different video, but for right now I just wanted to show you how to get to this point. Thank you guys for listening.